Hi everybody, Nadim here, online tennis instruction. I'd like to bring you a quick tip on the forehand. I found that a lot of my players struggle with understanding what it means to get good extension and lifting, especially with the elbow on the forehand, and that is due to some of what we see on TV. When we watch on TV, we see all these pros coming around their body a lot, finishing really low because of the hyper speed with which they play. So it could get lost in translation. It actually does get lost in translation, where the arm most of the time actually goes first before we finish there. So whether it's a traditional forehand or whether it's more of a modern forehand, it does not really matter. The elbow still needs elevating, and what I mean by that is, regardless of what you do, I'm not going to go into too much on the style of the take back. I'm literally talking about at contact and what happens immediately following contact. You want to make sure that the elbow gets a lift before there's anything that goes in any other direction, whether it's traditional or whether it's modern, quote unquote. Okay, so at contact we want to make sure we get a little bit of lift. Why? Most players who struggle with a forehand, they seem to struggle with consistency and power, right? So I cannot get consistent power if I don't lift my elbow. It's not possible. And even more so, I can't get a consistent forehand that has good clearance and good depth in the court if I don't lift my elbow. Okay, so all I really am talking about is wherever you make contact, you literally want to swing up from there, as long as you're at the baseline, and even most shots inside the court. Okay, there are exceptions, but for most shots at the for all shots at the baseline, and for most shots in general, this holds true. There is a lifting motion before there's any kind of wrapping or lifting of any other sort. And I want to give you a quick another one of these unorthodox things I like to do. I want you to use your non-dominant hand just for feeling what it's like. Give it a little bit of a nudge. Give your hitting arm a little bit of a nudge with that hand underneath here, so you get a lift. You can still wrap around if that's what you hell-bent to do. That's totally fine. But also, if you work on a traditional way of getting a nice high finish, that is a good way of exercising, and I highly recommend you do that by self-feeding. So, like myself, you're going to go into your unit turn, going to drop the ball, place the hand, and just give it a little bit of a nudge, so that you can finish a little bit more a little higher than what you probably do on average. And again, this is for somebody who's struggling with generating a good amount of pace and consistently doing so with less effort than you normally use. Okay, so one more time, and then I'm going to show you this from a different angle. Self-feed and really get a nice lift. And if you cannot get a respectable amount of clearance and a respectable amount of depth, then you're not doing it properly. Okay, and really push up. And that is probably a good one to look at. Now let's look at a little bit more advanced forehand. You can still get this done. You're going to wrap a little bit more, so you're not going to get quite as much of a down the line shot. But you want to look at, where is my elbow at the end? Is my elbow around my body and still very low? Or is my elbow really elevating past contact before I do any kind of other wrapping, so to speak? So let me show you this from the front angle real quick. All right, guys, let's take a look really quick here from the front angle. Same thing. I'm going to self-feed, and I'm going to promote the upward lift with my left hand. Okay, here we go one more time. Turn and then really get nice and up, and I want to make sure that I keep the elbow up, and for now keep it on the right side. If I want to really break it down into progressions, one more time, really get it a nice nudge, and I can see how the ball gets really good clearance and depth. Let's do that one more time. Here we go. And really trying to get a little bit of a nudge and get extension up and out. That's what I will get. So I don't want to force this shot with my right hand. I want to give my left hand the authority to do a little bit of lifting, so I can just get the feeling of what it's like. Let's do it one more time with a little bit more of an advanced swing. Okay, so I'm swinging a little bit more across my body, but still, again, the elbow finishes relatively high. And then once I've done a couple of these, where I lift it with the elbow, then I just leave the left hand out, and I do it without, and I try to replicate on the regular lifting shot, and a little bit more on the modern end. So you can see I'm crossing a little bit over, but you can clearly see that my elbow is significantly higher than where it was when I made contact. And a lot of players, they do this, they connect with the ball and then they break across, and the elbow does very little elevating, hence they're not going to get a consistent amount of clearance and depth, and hence therefore can't get enough power, which is generated effortlessly. Okay, so I want you to take a look at your forehand, see if you are a candidate who wraps around the body very early and does not really elevate, and somebody who hits short balls or can't just get enough power on their shots. And give this little quirky exercise a try, and let me know if this does anything good for your forehand. I hope it does. I know it will.
Nadim is now available for private lessons in San Diego, California, year-round. When you work with Nadim, you get state-of-the-art instruction with instant video feedback right on the court. If you want to take your game to the next level with private lessons, simply click the link inside this video for all the details.